Admiral Sarah Chen pressed her face against the cold metal of the observation window. She watched the last human battleships burn in the darkness of space. Orange flames bloomed like deadly flowers against the black sky above Earth. Each explosion meant hundreds of her people were dead. "Admiral, we have lost contact with Battle Group 7, Lieutenant Rodriguez said behind her. His voice shook. "That makes them all gone, ma'am. Every single fleet we sent up there." Sarah closed her eyes for a moment. 300 ships. 50,000 brave men and women. All destroyed in less than 6 hours. The alien invaders had not even slowed down. "What about the orbital defense platforms?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. "Gone. All of them. The aliens just cut through them like they were made of paper." Through the window, Sarah could see the enemy ships. They looked like giant metal spears with glowing red points. There were thousands of them, maybe tens of thousands. They had appeared 3 months ago at the edge of the solar system. No warning, no attempt to talk. They just started moving toward Earth, destroying everything humans put in their way. The aliens called themselves the Zephyrian Hegemony. At least, that was what the computers translated their language to mean. They had sent only one message to Earth. It was simple and terrible. You will surrender or you will die. Humanity had chosen to fight. Now, looking at the burning wreckage of their last hope, Sarah wondered if they had made the right choice. "Admiral," another voice called out. "We are getting reports from the surface. The aliens are landing. They hit New York first, then London. Tokyo's under attack now." Sarah turned away from the window. The command center around her was chaos. Officers shouted into microphones. Computer screens flashed red warnings. Everyone was trying to do something, anything, to help. But there was nothing left to do. "How long do we have?" Sarah asked. "Before they reach this facility? Maybe 4 hours, maybe less." Sarah nodded. The command center was built deep under the Swiss mountains. It was supposed to be the safest place on Earth, but the aliens had weapons that could crack planets. A few miles of rock would not stop them. "Get me a connection to the emergency council," she said. "Yes, ma'am." Within minutes, Sarah was looking at screens showing the faces of Earth's remaining leaders. President Martinez of the Americas looked like he had aged 10 years in one day. Prime Minister Singh had dirt on her face from a collapsed building. Chancellor Weber was calling in from a bunker in Berlin that was already under attack. "Sarah," President Martinez said, "tell me you have good news." "I don't, sir. We are finished. Every military asset we had is gone. The aliens are landing all over the planet. There is nothing left to fight them with." The silence that followed was the heaviest thing Sarah had ever felt. "How long?" Chancellor Weber asked. "Hours. Maybe a day if we are lucky. They are not just conquering us. They are destroying everything. Cities, farms, power plants. It looks like they want to make sure we can never fight back." "Prime Minister." Singh spoke up. "What about the evacuation ships? The ones that got away are already gone, but that was less than 1 million people. There are 8 billion still on Earth." President Martinez put his head in his hands. "So this is it then? The end of humanity?" "Maybe not," Sarah said slowly. She had been thinking about this for weeks, but had never dared to suggest it. "There might be one option left." "What are you talking about?" Singh asked. "The Watchers." The other leaders looked confused. Sarah explained. 3 months ago, just before the Zephyrians arrived, our deep space sensors picked up something strange. Ships. Big ones. But not Zephyrian. They appeared near Pluto and they have been sitting there ever since, just watching. "You think they might help us?" Martinez asked. "I don't know. We have tried to contact them before, but they never answered. But maybe if we ask differently. Maybe if we tell them what is really happening here." "You want to send a message to unknown aliens while we are being destroyed by other aliens?" Weber said. "That sounds insane." "Everything we have tried has failed," Sarah said. "Our weapons, our defenses, our strategies, all of it. We have no military options left. This is not about pride anymore. This is about survival. She looked at each face on the screens. These people had led humanity for years. They had made hard choices before, but never one like this. I am asking permission to use the deep space communication array, to send a message to whoever is out there, to ask for help. And if they refuse? Singh asked. Then we die the same way we are going to die anyway. But if there is even a small chance they might listen. President Martinez was quiet for a long moment. Outside the bunker, they could hear explosions getting closer. The Zephyrians were coming. Do it, he said finally. Send the message. Ask them to help us. I second that, Singh said. Agreed, Weber added. Sarah felt something she had not felt in months. Not hope exactly, but something close to it. I will need Dr. Webb, she said. He knows more about alien languages than anyone. Get him. Get anyone you need. Just make this work, Sarah. Please. The screens went dark. Sarah turned to her officers. Find Dr. Marcus Webb. Bring him here now, and get me a connection to the deep space array. Yes, ma'am. Sarah looked out the window one more time. The alien ships were getting closer to Earth. Soon they would be landing right on top of this bunker. But maybe, just maybe, someone out there was listening. Someone who might care that an entire species was about to die. It was their last chance. Their only chance. Time to find out if the universe had any mercy left in it. Dr. Marcus Webb ran through the underground tunnels as fast as his old legs could carry him. The walls shook around him every few seconds. Dust fell from the ceiling with each explosion above. The aliens were getting closer. 2 soldiers escorted him, their boots echoing in the narrow space. They had found him in the linguistics department trying to save his research files. Now those files were gone, buried under tons of concrete and metal. But his knowledge was still in his head. That was what Admiral Chen needed. Dr. Webb, Admiral Chen said when he arrived in the command center. She looked tired and scared, but her voice was steady. I need you to help us send a message. The most important message in human history. Marcus nodded, breathing hard. To the Watchers near Pluto. Yes. You have studied their ships for months. You must have some idea how to talk to them. Marcus wiped sweat from his forehead. I have been trying to understand their technology. Their ships use energy patterns I have never seen before. But I have not been able to figure out their language. They have never responded to any of our signals. Maybe we have been asking the wrong way, Admiral Chen said. Maybe we need to try something different. She led him to a computer terminal. On the screen was a direct connection to the deep space communication array. It was humanity's most powerful transmitter, built on the far side of the moon. If the aliens out there could receive any human signal, it would be this one. What do you suggest? Marcus asked. Admiral Chen looked around the command center. Her officers were watching them. Everyone knew this was their last chance. Tell them the truth, she said. Tell them we are dying. Tell them we need help. Marcus sat down at the terminal. His fingers moved over the keyboard but then stopped. Admiral, I don't know their language. I don't even know if they use language the way we do. How can I make them understand? Use everything you know about communication. Mathematics, music, pictures, whatever might work. Marcus thought for a moment. Then he began to type. First he sent mathematical sequences. Prime numbers. The value of pi. Basic equations that any advanced species would recognize. These would show that humans were intelligent beings, not just animals making noise. Next, he added binary patterns that represented human DNA. If these aliens understood biology, they would know they were talking to a living species. A species with its own unique pattern of life. But math and science were not enough. Marcus needed to show emotion. He needed to show what it meant to be human. He opened another program and began to add sound files. A baby crying. A mother singing. A lullaby. An orchestra playing Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. Children laughing in a playground. The sound of waves on a beach. Thunder during a storm. These were the sounds of Earth. The sounds of human life in all its forms. Then he added images: the blue marble of Earth from space, a forest in the morning mist, a city at night with millions of lights, paintings from the greatest human artists, photographs of families together, pictures of people helping each other during disasters. But he was not done yet. Marcus knew he needed to show the aliens what was happening now, what humanity was facing. He added new images: cities burning under alien attack, human ships exploding in space, refugees running from destroyed homes, children crying in bomb shelters, the dead lying in the streets. And then at the end he added one more image: a single human hand reaching out, open and empty, asking for help. "Admiral," he said, "I need one more thing, something personal, something that shows we are not just sending data, but that real people are behind this message." Admiral Chen understood. She stepped in front of the camera connected to the transmitter. For a moment, she just looked into the lens. Then she began to speak. "My name is Sarah Chen. I am speaking for all the people of Earth. We are dying. Our planet is being destroyed by an enemy we cannot defeat. We have tried to fight, but we are not strong enough. We have tried to run, but there is nowhere to go." Her voice was steady, but Marcus could see tears in her eyes. "We know you are out there. We know you have been watching us. We don't know who you are or what you want, but we are asking for your help, not as conquerors asking for weapons, not as warriors demanding an alliance, but as living beings who just want to survive." She paused, looking directly into the camera. "If you can help us, please do. If you cannot, we understand. But please know that we tried to be good. We tried to take care of each other and our world. We failed in many ways, but we never stopped trying to be better." She stepped back from the camera. Marcus combined her words with all the data he had prepared: mathematics and music, science and art, the sounds of life and the images of death. All of it wrapped around Admiral Chen's simple, honest plea for help. "Are you ready to send it?" Admiral Chen asked. Marcus looked at the screen. The message was huge. It contained thousands of files, pictures, sounds, mathematical proofs, and one human woman speaking from her heart. It would take the deep space array several minutes to transmit everything. "Admiral, the aliens might break through before we finish sending this. Then we better start now." Marcus moved his finger over the send button. Around them, the explosions were getting louder. The enemy was almost at their door. "Sending now," he said, and pressed the button. The screen lit up with transmission data. The message began its journey across the solar system, racing through space at the speed of light, carrying humanity's last hope to the mysterious watchers near Pluto. "How long until it reaches them?" Admiral Chen asked. "About 5 hours, and if they decide to answer, another 5 hours for their response to reach us." They both looked at the clock on the wall. 10 hours total. But the aliens above them would break through the bunker in less than 2 hours. "We won't be alive to hear their answer," Admiral Chen said quietly. Marcus nodded. "But maybe someone will be. Maybe someone somewhere will know that we tried, that we reached out instead of giving up." The transmission continued. Somewhere above them, Zephyrian soldiers were blasting through the final defenses. Soon they would reach the command center. Soon this would all be over, but the message was flying through space, carrying the voice of humanity to whoever might be listening. It was all they could do now: wait and hope that someone out there cared enough to answer. Admiral Chen could hear the explosions right above them now. Metal was grinding against metal. The Zephyrian soldiers were cutting through the final blast doors with their energy weapons. She had maybe 10 minutes before they broke through. "Admiral," Lieutenant Rodriguez called out, "the deep space array is reporting something strange." Sarah ran to his station. "What kind of strange?" "The array is picking up massive energy readings. Ships are moving near Pluto. Big ships, really big." Dr. Webb looked up from his computer. "How big?" "The sensors say some of them are larger than our biggest space stations, and Admiral, they are moving fast. Faster than anything should be able to move." Sarah felt her heart skip a beat. "Are they coming toward Earth?" "Yes, ma'am. But not in a straight line. They are appearing and disappearing. like they are jumping from place to place without traveling through the space in between. That's impossible, Dr. Webb said. So were the Zephyrians 3 months ago, Sarah replied. How long until they reach us? At their current speed, they should be here in less than an hour. But Admiral, that doesn't make sense. Pluto is billions of miles away. Nothing can travel that fast. The sound of cutting metal grew louder above them. Sparks began falling from the ceiling. Rodriguez, can you get me visual contact with the Zephyrian fleet? Sarah asked. Trying now, ma'am. The main screen flickered and showed the space above, Earth. Thousands of red glowing ships filled the view. They looked like a swarm of angry insects covering the blue planet. Some were landing on the surface. Others were destroying the last orbital stations. Then something changed. Admiral, Rodriguez said, his voice barely a whisper. Look at the edge of the screen. Sarah looked where he was pointing. Space itself seemed to be bending. Like reality, was folding in on itself. Then, without any warning, ships appeared, but these were not like the red Zephyrian vessels. These ships were enormous. Each one was the size of a city. They were made of what looked like liquid silver, flowing and changing shape as they moved. Beautiful patterns of light moved across their surfaces like living art. My God, Dr. Webb breathed. How many of them are there? More ships kept appearing. They surrounded the Zephyrian fleet but did not attack. They just stopped and waited. Rodriguez, are you getting any signals from them? Sarah asked. Nothing, Admiral. They are just sitting there. On the screen, the Zephyrian ships had stopped moving too. The red vessels that had been attacking Earth's surface began pulling back into space. It was like they were afraid. Admiral, another officer called out, the Zephyrian attack on the surface has stopped. All their ground forces are retreating to their ships. Sarah could not believe what she was seeing. An hour ago, humanity was minutes away from complete destruction. Now the aliens who had been killing them were running away from something else. The sound of metal cutting stopped above them. The bunker became strangely quiet. Why did they stop? Dr. Webb asked. Before Sarah could answer, every computer screen in the command center went white. Then slowly words began to appear. But they were not typed words. They seemed to grow out of the light itself, forming in every human language at the same time. We are the eldest. We have watched. We have heard. Your call. Everyone in the command center stopped what they were doing. The voice that came with the words was not heard through speakers. It came from inside their heads, gentle and warm, like a parent speaking to a frightened child. You sent us pictures of your world, sounds of your joy and pain, the cry of a mother whose child was in danger. We understand. Sarah found her voice. Who are you? We are old beyond your counting of time. We have seen stars born and die. We have watched life grow in the dark between worlds. We have seen species rise and fall, like waves on an endless shore. More words appeared on the screens. We do not interfere. This is our law, but your message showed us something we have rarely seen. A species that chose to ask for help instead of demanding victory. A people who sent music and mathematics together, who showed us both their beauty and their failures. Dr. Webb stepped forward. Are you going to help us? The ones who attack you are not evil. They are afraid. Their worlds are dying. Their children are hungry. They came to your planet not from hatred but from desperation. Sarah felt confused. So you are going to let them destroy us? No, but we will not destroy them either. Both of your species have shown us something important today. You by asking for help when you could have died in pride. They by stopping their attack when faced with something greater than themselves. On the screen above Earth, something amazing was happening. The silver ships were moving between the Zephyrian vessels and the planet. But they were not attacking. Instead, beams of soft blue light connected the ships. The red glow of the Zephyrian weapons was fading. We are stopping their weapons. We are calming their fear. But now comes the harder task. You must choose what happens next. What do you mean? Sarah asked. Your attackers cannot return to their Dying worlds. Your planet has room and resources they need. But trust must be built. Understanding must grow. Will you try to live together? Or will you fight until one side destroys the other? Sarah looked around at her officers. They were all staring at her, waiting for her answer. The fate of two species was in her hands. How do we know they won't just attack us again later? You do not know. Just as they do not know if you will try to destroy them when you grow stronger. This is what trust means. Acting with hope instead of fear. Above Earth, the Zephyrian ships were powering down their weapons. Some of them were even opening communication channels. "Admiral," Rodriguez said, "I'm getting a transmission from one of the Zephyrian ships. They want to talk." Sarah took a deep breath. 5 minutes ago, she had been preparing to die. Now she was being asked to make peace with the enemies who had been destroying her world. "Put them through," she said. The screen flickered and showed the face of an alien. It had large eyes and gray skin. But something in its expression looked almost human. It looked tired and scared. "I am War Commander Vexhai," the alien said in broken human language. We wish to speak. The eldest say we must try to understand each other. Will you listen?" Sarah looked at the alien who had been her enemy, just moments before. Then she looked at the silver ships surrounding them, waiting to see what choice humanity would make. "Yes," she said. "We will listen." The meeting room was deep inside the bunker, far from the damaged upper levels. Admiral Sarah Chen sat across a metal table from War Commander Vexhai. The alien was taller than she had expected, with long arms and fingers that moved like water. His gray skin seemed to change color slightly when he was thinking. Dr. Webb sat beside Sarah, trying to help translate when the alien's words were hard to understand. Two Zephyrian officers stood behind their commander, while Lieutenant Rodriguez and another human officer flanked Sarah. "Your species attacked us without warning," Sarah said, keeping her voice calm. "You destroyed our cities and killed millions of our people. Why should we trust you now?" Vexhai's large eyes looked down at the table. When he spoke, his voice was soft and sad. "We were dying. Our 3 home worlds were burning, our sun was growing too hot, our children were starving." He touched a device on his wrist. Above the table, a hologram appeared. It showed 3 planets, covered in red deserts. Cities lay in ruins, ships crowded around the dying worlds filled with refugees. "We sent scouts to look for new homes. They found your world, green and blue and full of life. But they also found you. So you decided to kill us and take our planet?" Sarah asked. "Our leaders said you would never share. They said all species fight for resources. They said it was better to strike first before you could attack us." Dr. Webb leaned forward. "Did you try to communicate with us? To ask for help?" One of the other Zephyrians spoke quickly to Vexhai in their own language. Sarah could see the alien commander's skin darken with what might have been shame. We were afraid," Vexhai said. "In our history, when species meet, the stronger one destroys the weaker one. We thought you would be the same." "But you didn't know us," Sarah said. "You never tried to learn about us." "No. We made a choice based on fear. And now both our species have suffered for it." The room was quiet for a moment. Above them, they could feel the presence of the eldest ships. The ancient aliens were waiting to see what would happen. Sarah looked at the hologram still floating above the table. The dying worlds of the Zephyrians looked terrible. She tried to imagine what it would be like if Earth was burning and she had to find new homes for 8 billion people. "How many of your people need homes?" she asked. 40 million survivors, Vexhai replied. "We have them in ships now, but the ships are crowded and running out of supplies. And you thought the only way to save them was to destroy us." "Yes. But the eldest have shown us something different. They say there might be another way." "Doctor?" Webb spoke up. "What way?" Vexhai touched his device again. The hologram changed to show a map of the solar system. Red dots marked where Zephyrian ships were located. Blue dots showed human colonies and stations. "Your species has many worlds," Vexhai said. "Mars, the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. Asteroid, stations, but most of them are empty or have very few people. Sarah saw where this was going. You want us to share our solar system with you? The eldest say this could work, but only if both species agree, only if we trust each other. Trust, Sarah said, after you killed millions of our people. Vex High's skin became very dark. I know we cannot undo what we have done. I know many of your people will hate us forever, but our children are dying in those ships. If there is any chance to save them without destroying your people, he looked directly at Sarah. I will do anything, even if it means my own life. Sarah studied the alien across from her. She could see pain in his large eyes. This was not a monster. This was a desperate parent trying to save his children. What exactly are you proposing? She asked. Vex High pointed to the red dots on the map. Our people are good at growing things. We have technology that can make dead worlds bloom with life. Mars could become green. The moons could have forests and lakes. In exchange for what? We share our knowledge with you. We help you build new colonies. We work together instead of fighting. Dr. Webb was taking notes quickly. What about Earth? Do your people want to live on Earth? Some might if yours would allow it, but most would be happy with the other worlds. We just need places where our children can breathe and grow. Sarah felt a strange sensation in her mind. The voice of the eldest spoke to her, but only to her. This is the choice we spoke of, fear or hope, hatred or healing. What will you choose? Sarah closed her eyes for a moment. She thought about the burning cities above, the dead soldiers in space, the families destroyed by this war. Part of her wanted revenge. Part of her wanted to see these aliens suffer as humans had suffered. But another part of her remembered the hologram of the dying Zephyrian worlds, the crowded refugee ships, the children who were hungry and afraid. She opened her eyes and looked at Vex High. If we agree to this, how do we know your people won't change their minds later? How do we know you won't decide to take Earth anyway? You do not know, Vex High said honestly, just as we do not know if your people will try to destroy us when you recover from this war. But the eldest say this is what trust means, acting with hope instead of fear. Sarah almost smiled. Those were the exact words the eldest had used before. There will have to be rules, she said. Laws that both species must follow. Ways to solve problems without fighting. Yes, we understand. And there will have to be justice for what has already happened. The families who lost people in this war. The cities that were destroyed, that cannot be forgotten. Vex High nodded. We will do whatever your people think is fair. Sarah looked around the room. At Dr. Webb, who was nodding encouragingly. At her officers, who looked uncertain but willing to try. At the alien commander who had been her enemy just hours ago. I cannot make this decision alone, she said. I will have to talk to the other human leaders, and you will have to convince your people as well. I understand. But, Sarah paused, choosing her words carefully. But I think it might be possible. If both sides really want peace. If both sides are willing to work for it. For the first time since the meeting began, Vex High's skin became lighter. Something that might have been relief crossed his face. Thank you, he said. For listening, for trying. Sarah nodded. The eldest were right about one thing. This is harder than fighting. But maybe it is better too. Above them, the silver ships of the eldest waited patiently. The first step toward peace had been taken. Now came the real work of building trust between two species who had been enemies. It would not be easy, but it was possible, and for the first time in months, that was enough. 6 months later, Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck of the New Harmony station. Through the wide windows, she could see Mars in the distance. But it was not the red, dead Mars she remembered. Green patches covered parts of the planet now. Blue lakes sparkled in the valleys. White clouds drifted across the sky. Hard to believe, isn't it? Dr. Webb said, joining her at the window. 6 months ago, we were ready to die. Now look at this. Sarah nodded. The changes had been amazing. The Zephyrians had shared their biotechnology with humanity. Plants that could grow in thin air and poor soil. Machines that could make water from ice and rock. Ways to build domes that felt like being outside even when you were in space. The first harvest on Mars came in yesterday, she said. Enough food to feed 1 million people. Human food or Zephyrian food? Both. The Zephyrian farmers learned to grow our crops. Our farmers learned to grow theirs. Everyone eats better now. Through the window they could see ships moving between Mars and the outer planets. Some were human ships with their square, practical designs. Others were Zephyrian, vessels with their flowing, organic shapes. But many were new ships built by both species working together. Any word from the eldest? Dr. Webb asked. Sarah smiled. They sent a message this morning. They are leaving today. Leaving? Their job here is done. They only stay long enough to make sure peace has a chance to grow. Then they move on to help other species who need them. Dr. Webb looked thoughtful. Do you think we will ever see them again? I hope so. But not because we need them to solve our problems. Because we want to show them what we have built together. The door to the observation deck opened. War Commander Vex-High walked in, but he was no longer a war commander. Now he was simply Commander Vex-High, head of the Joint Colony Council. His skin had stayed a lighter color for months now. Sarah had learned that meant he was happy. Sarah, he said, the council meeting is ready to begin. Thank you, Vex. What is on the agenda today? 3 new colony sites have been approved. 1 human colony on Europa, 1 Zephyrian settlement on Titan, and 1 mixed colony on Ceres. The mixed colonies were Sarah's favorite success story, places where humans and Zephyrians lived and worked together. The children from these colonies were learning both languages. They played games that combined human and Zephyrian rules. They were becoming something new. Any problems? Sarah asked. Vex-High's skin darkened slightly. Some. There was another protest on Earth yesterday. The group that calls itself Humanity First is still angry about the peace agreement. Sarah sighed. Not everyone had accepted the new reality. Some humans still wanted revenge for the war. Some Zephyrians still believed they should have conquered Earth completely. These groups were small, but they were loud. What about the memorial service next week? She asked. Both species will attend. We will remember the humans who died in the war. We will also remember the Zephyrians who died on their homeworlds. Together. It had taken months to plan the memorial. How do you honor the dead from both sides of a war? How do you mourn together when some of the mourners had killed each other, but they had found a way, because they had to? The council is also voting on the new exploration mission. Vex-High continued. Sarah's eyes lit up. This was the project she was most excited about. To the Kepler system? Yes. Joint cruise, human navigation, and Zephyrian biotechnology. Looking for worlds that might need help. Dr. Webb looked surprised. Help? We are going to help other species? The eldest left us with more than just peace, Sarah said. They left us with coordinates. Locations of other civilizations that are struggling. Species that might be facing the same choice we faced. And we are going to try to help them? We are going to try to do what the eldest did for us. Offer them a third option. Show them that war is not the only answer. Vex-High added, my people learned much from this experience. We learned that asking for help is not weakness. We learned that sharing is better than taking. And my people learned that fear makes us do terrible things, Sarah said. But hope can make us do wonderful things. They walked together toward the council chambers. The halls of Harmony Station were busy with people from both species. Human children ran past, chasing Zephyrian younglings in some kind of game. Scientists from both species worked together at computer stations. Guards wearing both human and Zephyrian symbols kept the peace. It was not perfect. There were still arguments, still misunderstandings, still people on both sides who did not trust each other. Building peace was hard work that never ended, but it was working. Sarah, Vex-High said as they reached the council doors. I have been thinking about something. What? The eldest said they had been watching us for a long time. They saw how both our species behaved before we met each other. Do you think they knew this would happen? Sarah thought about it. You mean, do I think they knew we would choose peace? Yes. I think they hoped we would. But they did not know for sure. That was the test. Not whether we could fight. Whether we could choose to stop fighting. The council chamber doors opened. Inside, representatives from both species waited. Humans and Zephyrians sitting together, planning the future of their shared civilization. Are you ready? Sarah asked. Vexhi's skin became bright with happiness. Ready? They walked into the chamber together. On the agenda today were plans for new colonies, new explorations, and new hopes. Outside the station, ships moved between worlds that were no longer empty. Gardens grew in places that had been deserts. Children learned songs in languages their parents had never heard. The war was over. The healing would take generations, but it had begun. And somewhere in the deep space between stars, ancient ships moved toward other struggling civilizations, carrying with them the coordinates of a solar system where two species had chosen hope over fear, where enemies had become allies, where peace had been possible after all. The eldest would watch other species face the same choice. And when those species sent their own desperate messages into the void, asking for help instead of demanding victory, the eldest would know what to tell them. They would point them toward a small yellow star, toward a place where Admiral Sarah, Chen and Commander Vexhi had proven that the universe still had room for mercy, that sometimes when there was no hope left, extending a hand in peace was the most human thing of all.